Glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to all the devotees.
Thank you, Mataji, for your association today. We are very excited to hear from you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all praise to Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining today's daily call. So today's class is by Her Grace Radhavinodini Mataji. Mataji, thank you again for your valuable association. I'll turn it over to you, Mataji. Mataji, you have any specific share you want me to verse?
No, I can do the screen sharing because I've searched some verses which I would like to reference during this presentation. So it was the easiest like that.
Okay,
so,
Mataji. Sure, I'll turn it over to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Om Gyana Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I would like to speak a little bit about there will be something like 11 verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I read them for a presentation, and it was such an interesting topic that I thought that I would like to share this with you. So many of these verses don't have purports, so we will go till one purport will come from Srila Prabhupada. So Rasalankara vat kavyam dosha yukched vibhushitam syadvapu sundaram api shvitre naikena durbagam. Srila Prabhupada's translation. As one's body, although well decorated with ornaments, is made unfortunate by even one spot of white leprosy, so an entire poem is made useless by a fault, despite alliteration, similes, and metaphors. Pancha alankárera, ébé sunaha vicsára, dúj sabdálankára, tina arta alankára. Now hear the description of the 5 literary embellishments. There are 2 ornaments of sound and 3 ornaments of meaning. Sabdálankára, tinapádi ácsé anuprásza, Sri Lakshmi Shabde Punar Uktavad Abasa. There is a sound ornament of alliteration in 3 lines, and in the combination of the words Shri and Lakshmi, there is the ornament of a tinge of redundancy. Pratama Charane Pancha Takarera Panti, Tritiya Charane Haya Pancha Repastiti. In the arrangement of the first line, the letter Ta occurs 5 times, and the arrangement of the third line repeats the letter Ra 5 times. Chaturta Charane Chari Bakara Prakasha Ataeva Shabdalankara Anuprasa. In the 4th line, the letter Ba occurs 4 times. This arrangement of alliteration is a pleasing ornamental use of sounds. Shri Shabde Lakshmi Shabde Ekavastukta Punarukta Prayabase Nahe Punarukta. Although the words Shri and Lakshmi convey the same meaning and are therefore almost redundant, they are nevertheless not redundant. Shri Yukta Lakshmi Arte Artera Vibeda Punar Uktavad Abasa Shabdalankara Beda. Describing Lakshmi as possessed of Shri opulence, offers a difference in meaning with a tinge of repetition. This is the second ornamental use of words. Lakshmi Iva Artalankara Upama Prakasha Ara Artalankara Ache Nama Virodabasa. The use of the words Lakshmi Iva, like Lakshmi, manifests the ornament of meaning called Upama, analogy. There is also a further ornament of meaning called Virodabasa, or a contradictory indication. Gangate Kamala Jamme Sabara Subodha Kamale Gangara Jamma Atyanta Viroda. Everyone knows that lotus flowers grow in the water of the Ganges, but to say that the Ganges takes birth from a lotus flower seems extremely contradictory. Ihan Vishnupada Padme Gangara Utpatti Viroda Alankara Iha Maha Chamatkriti. The existence of Mother Ganges begins from the lotus feet of the Lord. Although this statement that water comes from the lotus flower is a contradiction, in connection with Lord Vishnu, it is a great wonder. And this is the last one. Ishvara Achintya Shaktye Gangara Prakasha Ihate Viroda Nahi Viroda Abasa. In this birth of the Ganges, by the inconceivable potency of the Lord, there is no contradiction, although it appears contradictory. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The central point of all Vaishnava philosophy is to accept the inconceivable potency of Lord Vishnu. What sometimes appears contradictory from a material viewpoint is understandable in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he can perform contradictory activities by dint of his inconceivable potencies. Modern scientists are puzzled. They cannot even explain how such a large quantity of chemicals has formed the atmosphere. Scientists explain that water is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen, but when asked where such a large quantity of hydrogen and oxygen came from and how they combined to manufacture the great oceans and seas, they cannot answer because they are atheists who will not accept that everything comes from life. Their thesis is that life comes from matter. Where do all these chemicals come from? The answer is that they are produced by the inconceivable energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Living entities are part of the Supreme Godhead, and from their bodies come many chemicals. For example, the lemon tree is a living entity that produces many lemons, and within each lemon is a great deal of citric acid. Therefore, if even an insignificant living entity who is but a part of the Supreme Lord can produce so much of a chemical, how much potency there must be in the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Scientists cannot perfectly explain where the chemicals of the world are manufactured, but one can explain this perfectly by accepting the inconceivable energy of the Supreme Lord. There is no reason for denying this argument. Since there are potencies in the living entities who are samples of the personality of Godhead, how much potency there must be in the Supreme Godhead himself? As described in the Vedas, Nityo Nityanam Chetanash Chetananam, he is the chief eternal of all eternals and the chief living entity among all living entities. Katha Upanishad. Unfortunately, atheistic science will not accept that matter comes from life. Scientists insist upon their most illogical and foolish theory that life comes from matter, although this is quite impossible. They cannot prove in their laboratories that matter can produce life, yet there are thousands and thousands of examples illustrating that matter comes from life. Therefore, in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that as soon as one accepts the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no great philosopher or scientist can put forward any thesis to contradict the Lord's power. This is expressed in the following Sanskrit verse. Well, you can read this verse. So, It's like a series, and it will be to be continued. So I remember when I first read these verses, I was very much puzzled what to speak about, because there is some art in it, and it's also obviously religion is in it, because we speak about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the scriptures are connected to Krishna. And also Srila Prabhupada speaks about material scientists, but previously we can also read the connection of science and art, because we can see many rules how to properly create these nice poems. And after all, when I was thinking, how can I bring all these together, I realized that actually there is this preconception in our minds that these are very much different things. But actually, if we connect these through Krishna, like all other things, these come close together. So I would like to speak a little bit about these. All the three pairs, like science and religion, science and art, and religion and art. So obviously, the greatest contradictions seem to be the science and religion part, because if we think about it, all these material scientists used to think that all these religious people are fanatics, and there is no proof for all their beliefs, and it's just something made up, and they base their life on these things, which probably doesn't exist. And if we want to see what religious people think about these material scientists, well, we read it just now, what Srila Prabhupada said about them. So there seemed to be a big contradiction here. And actually, the problem is that the concept of science is very much different in this Western world, and in this what Vedic knowledge considers science. We can agree on that. Actually, anything we want to do is the goal is happiness. So the goal of science is also happiness. But the problem is that this material science doesn't really know what happiness is and how can we achieve this happiness. And so, if we want to get somewhere, obviously we have to know where we are standing right now and where we want to go. For example, I was thinking, if I just decide to, if I sit in a cab and tell the driver I would like to go to a place where there are big trees and there is a great building. And this cab driver would really be confused, because this description can refer to, like a castle with a big park, or it can refer to a temple with some trees around it. It can refer to a hospital, and it's really not important if I want to go to a hospital or to a castle or to a temple. So I really have to be able to know which way I would like to go. What is my destination? And that's why it's important to know what is happiness. And material science considers happiness to be, satisfied senses. And actually, that's all. And this is how they endeavor for this kind of happiness. And they just don't even think about any higher power, any God, or even the needs of our soul. So some part of the picture is missing. And because this science tries to build on what we can perceive, it's very much limited. And also there is a problem with it that doesn't really know how to differentiate between things. I very much like to refer, for example, this how lately I had these all kind of health issues, and if I go to a doctor, she will send me to different kind of blood tests and many examinations. And I remember that once when I had this blood test, one number wasn't within this range, which is considered normal. And she said, oh, there is some kind of problem, and sent me this kind of examination, that kind of examination, and they didn't find anything anywhere. And in the end, she wanted to send me to examine my the stomach and stuff, which is how to say, if they don't do this examination properly, it can cause problem, even if there wasn't any problem. And I remember one of the doctors said that actually, even if this number is not within this normal range, it can be okay, because sometimes it's okay. And this Ayurveda, which is a totally different point of view, it differentiates between different kind of body types. So something which is normal for someone might be quite bad for someone else. So how to say, Vedic knowledge knows when it's important that when the principles are the same for everybody, and when there are different kind of principles for different kind of people. And in Vedic, in the Western worldview, I all the time see this kind of mentality that the same principles are there for everybody. And so as our perception is limited, it's a necessity that there will be mistakes, and we cannot have perfect knowledge based on that. On the other hand, Vedic knowledge is perfect because originally it comes from God. And so the source is perfect, and the topic is perfect. I remember that in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, this preface part, as I remember, it's described that even if we just speak about Bhagavad Gita, what are the topics of the scripture? So it speaks about material nature, it speaks about time, it speaks about the living entity and our actions, and the supreme controller. So it's 5 different topics, but if we speak about material science, it mostly focuses on the material nature. A little bit maybe about time, but they don't really know anything about time. They just try to research it. So the Prakriti is the only one of these which is temporary. And material science focuses on only this one topic, which is not eternal. So yeah, it's really really shows the difference between these worldviews, and that Vedic knowledge gives a much bigger area of knowledge. So the other thing is that the theory is perfect, but the practice is also perfect, because it all the time focuses on what we want to achieve, how to connect to God, to Krishna, And as the goal is always in the focus, the practice and how we can achieve it, it will also be perfect. And I remembered also one thing. I remember I had one friend many years ago, and this person had birthday, and I wanted to make something by myself, and based on all our time together, what we experienced. So I made one a small book containing tests because we had some common memories, and the main point is that because I had some love for this person, it was really important for me to create something which will please this person, and also to make it in good quality. So it's not just you have something which I just buy one piece of chocolate and wrap it into newspapers and I will give it, because if the person is important for me, then I really do endeavor how to please that person. And if we have this in mind while we are practicing Krishna consciousness, then of course the result will be good, because the principles are perfect, and we try our best to put it into practice, and we really endeavor and want to please Krishna. And one last point in this, two things which I would like to mention. One is that if we speak about religion and science, I remember once I researched about this on database, what Srila Prabhupada said in this topic. And it was Srila Prabhupada very much emphasized that Krishna consciousness is not just religion, because Krishna consciousness is science, because you can see that there are certain facts, and it was actually scientifically approach the topic that these are the facts, and if you do this, the result will be that. And just like in science, you can do your own experiments, and you can check it if you do what the scriptures tell you to do. And then the result, if you properly do it, the result will be what the scriptures say the result will be. So it can be checked, and it will be proven to be right. It's one thing. And the other thing is that in last September, Shivanam Swami Maharaj was in London, and he had a debate with His Grace Bhutta Bhavana Prabhu. And Bhutta Bhavana Prabhu was the material scientist, and he had this argument with Shivanam Maharaj about this topic, this science, material science contra religion or Vedic science. And it was really interesting that the conclusion, there were many very interesting points, and it's there on YouTube. So if you're interested, I can share the link with you. So the summary, the conclusion was very interesting, that Shivanam Maharaj said that actually it's not that science is bad. Even material science is not bad in itself. The problem is not with science, but the problem is with these material scientists, because they make everyone believe that by following this material science, by enjoying these gadgets and stuff, they will be happy. And even from childhood, they are raising up children to be perfect consumers and producers. And that's the problem. And there was something which is really, really the conclusion for me from what he said. And I would like to read this. So he said that you want to give people science, give them science. But 1, don't make science the all in all. 2, explain to people what the real value of life is. And 3, make people happy by giving them transcendental knowledge. And if you do that, then you can wed your science and religion together. And it was really such a nice thought for me, because we know that almost everything can be used in the service of Krishna. So why not use material science? But we have to know how to properly use it. And as he said during the debate, Shivaram Maharaj, for example, he has the right to use these, like cars, like cell phones, like computers, because he used these products for good, for the benefit of the people. On the other hand, the scientists use it for the wrong purpose. So that's the problem. That's why they actually, even if they created this, they don't have the right to use it. So these are about science and religion. The second, this science and art, I would speak a little bit about it, because it's, yeah. So just to mention that sometimes we think that, these two are also a little bit contradictory. They used to speak about the left and the right part of the brain, and they act in different way. So there used to be some kind of argument between artists and scientists too. But we can see that even these two are connected. One thing is that we can see that art is there everywhere in nature, and nature is what science is about. So obviously these two are connected. Just a few examples that there used to be when there is great freeze outside, and sometimes on the window there are these beautiful shapes, which is actually artistic, very nice to see. It's very artistic when there is rainbow after the rain. And I had one favorite example. It's about, I read a little bit about these birds, actually bird songs. And, when we go out to nature, it's also very pleasing to the heart, actually it's artistic to listen to these bird songs. And we don't even think about how scientific this is. So for example, just a few interesting facts that there are some bird species which have really complicated melodies, like many, like 10 to 20 or even more notes within just 1 second. So actually these bird songs are sort of similarly complicated, like a symphony, There is another thing that there are some birds which know 2,000 to 3,000 of different songs. There are other bird species which sing in a way that they combine different parts of their songs. So they never ever sing the same melody 2 times the same way. So we could go on and on. So we can see that art is there in nature. And we can see that Mother Nature actually inspires many artists. So they just want to catch a hold of a magic of a certain moment, like going to see a beautiful scenery, and they paint it, or things like that. So it's very inspiring. And also, Mother Nature is an inspiration for scientists too, because sometimes, they have experiments about like spider webs, and they include it in science, that how these can hold so so heavy things compared to how small it is. So things like that. And one other aspect is that science is used for different types of arts. So like, they all the time create many new musical instruments and stuff, different kind of chemicals used for new kinds of paints or stuff like that. There are these illusionists, they use also science. So in this way, these are also connected. And we can see that when we speak about Vedic knowledge, actually we can see that that Vedic knowledge is both about these artistic type of things and both about science, like combining how to, there are these ragas, and it's said that, okay, if you use these kind of notes in this kind of way, then it will create this kind of mood, or it will have effect like on the body like this kind of way. For example, there is this, that certain type of ragas have effect on the body in different ways, like this can heal the different kind of health problems. So also this way, science and art is combined. But the reason I wanted to conclude this topic with something very interesting. When we speak about art, we usually think like art is literature, art is paintings, the music and stuff, and science is, like biology, mathematics, and others. But I read something very interesting from His Holiness Bhaktividya Purna Swami, and the way he spoke about this was that anything we do has science and has art too. I think I will share this and also read, because it's a longer part. Just one. Okay, so this part I will read. So he said that science first, then art. That's the Vedic principle. You have to learn the science of something first, then the art of it. If you learn the art first, then there will always be problem, because the art is what the mind is dealing with. The Vedic concept is that the intelligence should be the senior and the mind should be the junior, because that means that the mind will also always follow the intelligence. But at the same time, because the intelligence is the senior, then its business is to take care of the need of the janitor, but it will be done from the standards of the senior. Then you have proper relationships in all aspects of the society, in the workings in your own mind, and in the standards of how the philosophy works. But if you put the art first, then the mind becomes the senior and the intelligence the junior. Then the intelligence, its only business is to figure out what the mind wants according to the mind's standards. Therefore, many options that are there will be neglected because the mind doesn't look at them, while the intelligence would look at all the options and what is actually the best for the time, place, and circumstance. But the other is that you are leaving out so many options because the mind isn't interested. Even though it seems that it is a more artistic approach, actually your options are limited more. You may be, by practice, very inspirational in a very limited area. But the idea is everyone learns that the science, and then there is a common basis, because art is not necessarily the common basis, because each person has a way they deal with it. It's like some sections of society. If you speak fancy words, they get insulted. They get insulted because it's like you are speaking over my head. You think I am an idiot or something. That's why you are doing it. Rather than you were just using some nice words. But if the science is the common point, then according to each individual's ability, then they can, with their inspiration, develop it and present it very nicely. Yeah, so I think it's very, very practical and very much shows that how these two are connected. And I just also remembered one occasion when I was listening to a kirtan. I think it was a Mayapur kirtan mela, and in the recording you could hear that while the mridanga players were playing, there are these ending mantras for the ending of the Hare Krishna mantra, and so when they approached the end of the mantra, one of the mridanga players just, shouting what kind of mridanga mantra they will play. So all the mridanga players could do the same. So it was presented very nicely. But if they hadn't done it like this, but everybody just, plays whatever he wants, then it will be just chaotic. So it's not so nice. So if there is science, there is common language, they can communicate nicely, and the result is nice because it's based on not just inspiration at the certain moment. So the last one of these the three, it's religion and art. So it's very interesting that there is one verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I mean these 4 verses, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches Sanatana Goswami about bhakti, and in these verses he speaks about the different qualities of devotees, and I just highlighted all 4 of them, all 4 verses, but sorry, it might not be the one. No, it's not that. Sorry, it's oh, this is it. Okay, so yeah, this is which I wanted to mention, that one of the qualities of devotees is that they are poetic. And I was thinking that usually when we are speaking about devotees, we speak about these qualities like merciful, humble, truthful, equal to all, etc., etc. And then we reach the end of the verse, and we see something like this, that they are poetic. And why is it important for devotees? It's really interesting. This topic is mentioned, I think. Satsvarup Das Goswami has one book about all these qualities connected to devotees, and I read this, and he wrote many interesting things, and yeah, these are the next verses. So he mentioned these 4 verses when Ramananda Roy and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu they are speaking. And Ramananda Roy glorifies the poetry of Rupa Goswami. So he says that what is the use of a bowman's arrow or a poet's poetry if they penetrate the heart but do not cause the heads to spin? Without your mercy, such poetic expressions would be impossible for an ordinary living being to write. My guess is that you have given him the power. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I met Srila Rupa Goswami at Prayag. He attracted and satisfied me because of his qualities. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praised the metaphors and other literary ornaments of Srila Rupa Goswami's transcendental poetry. Without such poetic attributes, he said, there is no possibility of preaching transcendental mellows. So it's very interesting to see that two important things caught my eyes. One is which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in the end, that there is no possibility of preaching transcendental mellows without such poetic attributes. You know, it's to first hear this thing, it might be really frightening that, okay, I'm not really a poetic type of person. How will I preach transcendental knowledge? So, but we also read this from Ramananda Roy, that without your mercy, such poetic expressions would be impossible for an ordinary living being. So it's very nice that it gives why it's important to properly speak about Krishna. It means many things, you know. One thing is that it's artistic, but it's also an art how to phrase things in a way that it catches people's heart. So it's also an art, and there is also the solution for this problem, that we can get the qualification from Krishna. So we are not the doers. We don't have, you know, anything to offer actually, but he can give the qualification which we need, and he can give anything he wants to give, which we need in order to properly preach his glories. And it was very nice once I've heard it from Madhavananda Prabhu's class, that he said that one of Krishna's names is Kalanidhi, which means that he enjoys arts. And one of Radharani's names is Kalavati, who is the greatest artist. So it's also a nice thing that how art is important, how much you know, we would like to offer beautiful artistic things to Krishna. Just from last weekend, it was Gaur Purnima festival here in Budapest, and you know, devotees each morning offer some Mangala sweets for Gaurnitai here. But for this festival, we were decorating these sweets, like, you know, beautiful patterns and flowers and stuff, because we want to offer something extraordinary, pleasing also to the eyes, not just, you know, something tasty, but artistic too. And I think I will. Yeah. Also, one other name is name of Krishna is that he is Uttama Shloka. He is glorified by the most beautiful and great varieties of words. So Satsvarup Das Goswami in his book, he wrote that Krishna is so beautiful, and his bodily qualities and all his pastimes, his names, his paraphernalia, and everything connected to him is just so amazing that without the use of poetic words, it's just not possible to properly glorify them. And when we write, when we read all these Vaishnava songs, we can see how beautifully these acharyas actually glorify Krishna. It's not just, you know, they say that, yeah, Krishna is beautiful. The color of his body is nice blue and stuff like that. But they have different kind of metaphors to to show how beautiful it is, for us to have this concept that this, oh my God, Krishna is so attractive. I would like to see him. I would like to serve him, to develop some love for him, you know. And his eyes are compared to lotus flowers, and you know, his body, the color of his body is compared to the clouds which just arrive and it will rain. So it really catches the heart of the reader. And these people who really want to properly glorify Krishna, and they have a strong connection, strong loving connection with him, Krishna gives him the qualification for finding the proper words, how to glorify him. And I hope I will find this. Yeah, this is the verse. So this verse is nicely shows how this happens actually. That if you want to, it's Sanatan Goswami, when he got this instruction to write about bhakti, and he prays to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give him the qualification for this. If you want to make a lame man like me dance, kindly bestow your transcendental blessings by placing your lotus feet on my head. Now, will you please tell me, let whatever I have instructed all be fully manifested unto you. By blessing me in this way, you will give me strength to describe all this. So this is how it happens, that all these great personalities get the qualification from Krishna. So they can nicely describe everything about him. It's very nice also, this example of Valmiki, who, I won't go into the details, but you can find it in many books, that when he, even before he decided to write the story of Ramayana, he just cursed one hunter. But after he said this curse, he just realized how nice these rhyme were. And actually, it was the one which he used while writing Ramayana. So it was also an arrangement of Krishna. So nicely, one thing happened after the other. And in the end, he had both this story from Narada Muni, and he had in the format in how he could write it. And also Lord Brahma came to him and gave the instruction to write it. So after all this happened, he could combine all what happened and nicely write this scripture. And it's also very nice. I just remembered while I was thinking about this, that Srila Prabhupada also said that when he wrote these purports to Srimad Bhagavatam, to Bhagavad Gita, actually these are not his words, but Krishna was telling him what to write. And we can see that these weren't just nice words from Srila Prabhupada, but he also liked to read his own books, because for him it was also something, how to say, new in a way. So, you know, nobody nobody does it that, you know, I write a book and then I just read it again and again and again, because it's not really interesting. But if someone else has the book and I just, you know, type it, and that happened, that Krishna gave the verse to Srila Prabhupada. So in this way, this is how it happened. And one last thing, time has gone, that in Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, there is the 10th chapter, which speaks about when Krishna left Hastinapur to go back to Dwaraka. And while he was leaving Hastinapur, these ladies on top of the buildings, they were singing about him. And so I just read the verse first, and also Srila Prabhupada's purport is very interesting. So the verse says that, absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is sang in select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapur began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. So it's very interesting that previously from another verse, we heard that poetry is important in properly preaching. But here's the other aspect, that when we speak about Krishna, it's more perfect than all the hymns of the Vedas. And Srila Prabhupada said that anything sung in the praise of the Lord is Shruti mantra. There are songs of Thakur Narottam Das, one of the acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, composed in simple Bengali language. But Thakur Vishwanath Chakravarti, another very learned acharya of the same Sampradaya, has approved the songs by Thakur Narottam Das to be as good as Vedic mantras. And this is so because of the subject matter. The language is immaterial, but the subject matter is important. The ladies, who were all absorbed in the thought and actions of the Lord, developed the consciousness of Vedic wisdom by the grace of the Lord. And therefore, although such ladies might not have been very, very learned scholars in Sanskrit or otherwise, still whatever they spoke was more attractive than the Vedic hymns. The Vedic hymns in the Upanishads are sometimes indirectly directed to the Supreme Lord. But the talks of the ladies were directly spoken about the Lord, and thus they were more pleasing to the heart. The ladies' talks appear to be more valuable than the learned Brahmanas' benedictions. So I think I would just conclude that as we saw that when we are following this process of Krishna consciousness, it's not that it's some kind of religious activity, and we don't even bother with science, don't even bother with art or anything else, because Krishna consciousness is natural. It just shows us how to see the Lord all the time in our hearts and all the time around us. So a Vaishnava's life is never boring. It's the most colorful thing which it possibly could be. And when Krishna is there in the heart, I mean, he's all the time is there, but sometimes we don't see him. So when we also see him, then and all our actions are connected to him, then our life can be spiritual, even within the material world. And all the time just listening to transcendental sound, singing, ecstatically dancing. So a devotee can live all the time in fresh Krishna consciousness. And yeah, I think I ran out of it. I really would like to describe it so nicely that all of us get inspiration for it, because I just remember that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about that how we can remember him by the taste of water, by seeing the light of the moon and the sun, and he's there everywhere around us, and we know that he's the most attractive. So all these things are attractive because of him. So when we see him everywhere, everything becomes beautiful. So I would just like to conclude with this thought and not continue, because I think I ran out of words. So thank you very much for your patience. And please, if you have any corrections, any realizations, questions.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for the beautiful class on this topic, material science and religion art. So many beautiful points you have shared. I don't feel like stopping you. I just wanted to listen more and more. Thank you so much again for this class. So nicely explained, like what Bhagavad Gita talks about and what material science talks about, like the topics explained, Bhagavad Gita talks about the material nature, time, and living actions, and supreme controller. And material nature talks about the material qualities, which is temporary, which is not permanent. And so nicely explained, like the goal of this Vedic knowledge is happiness and connecting to God, but the material science is more based on sensory happiness. Yeah, thank you so much again for the beautiful class. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, please you can unmute or you can type in the chat box or you can just talk, you can just share. Thank you again, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Let's see. I don't see any questions, Mataji. I'll just wait. Okay, Mataji, devotees might be thinking, but I can ask questions. I mean, so many points you have shared, and I'm not so able to grasp everything, but it's a very beautiful class. Here, Mataji, you said you were reading that Vedic knowledge, right? Intelligence is senior, mind is junior. It comes to Vedic knowledge, and also art is like material science, intelligence again becomes junior, mind becomes senior, right? Could you please explain that? So that means Vedic knowledge, we are trying to focus more on intelligence, and material science is like using our own mental concoctions. So how should I understand that? Could you please explain that?
Yeah. No, material knowledge is also connected to intelligence. It's just how to say, there is this hierarchy between the senses, the mind, and the intelligence. And intelligence should be the top. So intelligence should guide all these lower things, mind and senses. And the problem is that when intelligence is not properly trained, then the direction is not good. I remember once I had this talk with my counselor that many times when I have some kind of inner conflict because I have some conflict with some person, and my intelligence just start to go like anything, just bringing all together different kind of verses and stuff, and actually rationalizing things. Like why the other person is not right, but and the intelligence is working, but not properly working. In this case, the intelligence became the servant of the mind, actually, because the mind was, and the ego also, because the ego was hurt, and the mind is protecting the ego. So the mind just how to say, used the service of the intelligence. Okay. And that caused the problem. So the intelligence should control the mind, and that way it works nicely. In case of Western material knowledge and science, the problem is that, mind instructs in a way the intelligence that, as materialistic people wants to have sense gratification, and that's connected to the mind. So the intelligence is the servant of the mind, that the intelligence helps how I can have sense gratification.
Okay. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, beautiful point you shared. So mostly intelligence. So always we need to have a right intelligence. So intelligence will not become servant of mind, right? So if intelligence is not in the right mood, then mind will dominate intelligence.
Yes.
So always like we have to have the right intelligence. So Krishna conscious Vedic knowledge teaches like right intelligence, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I also just remember many times Guru Maharaj used to say that just understand the scriptures as they are. Because, for example, the mind can also speculate, you know, that can also, not the mind, the intelligence start to speculate. And that can also cause problem that we don't hear the actual message of the scriptures. So, yeah.
Yes, beautiful, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah. Devotees, if you have any comments, realizations that you like to share. And I like that point, Mataji, which you explained in the last, the poetic, how it is important, like attribute for a devotee to have that poetic quality. Yeah, yeah, and it's again through Krishna's mercy we can get that quality, right? So, and it's
yes. Yes, but that's why I also wanted to emphasize this other point that yeah, there are people, there are devotees who are not so poetic, but it's more important the topic. But it's really nice when we can put it nicely to words how to describe, because. For example, I just remember that Shivaram Maharaj here in Hungary is a beautiful example for this, that, you know, I don't remember what exactly he learned at university, but it definitely wasn't literature. It wasn't poetry and stuff. Some kind of how to build things, like something like that. But at some point in his devotional life, he got the inspiration to write books. And, you know, now if we read his books, it's just amazingly artistic. Not poetry, because there are no rhymes and stuff, but you know, the way he writes is just really, really literature. And it just happened that he started to do it and had the desire and the qualification, of course, because he's an amazing soul. But so Krishna gave him the qualification for that, to write so nicely. And I really like this example because, you know, Chaitanya Charitamrita is such a nice example, but it happened 500 years ago. Maybe it worked then, but it doesn't work now. But we can see that even this present day, it works like this. So if someone has this strong desire to glorify Krishna in the best possible way, then Krishna helps. So it immediately.
Oh, nice. So even to have that quality, should we have the, I think somewhere like we need the material education also, like to have that poetic quality.
Not necessarily. It depends on the type of preaching, I assume, because I just remember that there was one story. I think Indradyumna Maharaj spoke it once, that there was one devotee, I don't remember the exact details, but he was originally a homeless person. And somehow the devotees, because Srila Prabhupada accepted him as devotee, because he surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. But he was a very, very simple person. And devotees all the time engaged him in cleaning temple. But at some point, he had this strong desire that he would like to distribute books. So reluctantly, the devotees took him to distribute books. And in the end, somehow he became extremely successful in distributing books. And as I remember, his so-called mantra was that he just had this book in his hands, and told the person, he showed Srila Prabhupada's picture on the book and said that he's the one who saved me. And this was all he said. No great philosophic points, no big poetry or anything. It was just something really honest and sincere from his heart. And with this simple thing, he could nicely be engaged in this preaching mission. So I really like this story because it shows that, yeah, we want to have knowledge because transcendental knowledge is important. But even if we don't have it, but have the desire to preach, it's possible. Everything is possible when it's connected to Krishna.
Nice, Mataji. So desire, like always, we should have the desire. Even Guru Maharaj also so many times in the calls he mentions like desire, like we should plant the desire, then Krishna will show us the way.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. I don't see any questions further. I mean, so many beautiful points you have shared. I need to go back and read the verses again. Yeah. So
thank you very much for your questions. It's so nice that we can discuss this.
Yeah. Which canto, Mataji, the verses you show, like 122, 123 you shared, like
which one?
In the last you shared like 122 and 123. That is like one can get the qualification only from Lord blessings.
Okay. I will search that one. This one.
Yes. Which canto is that?
It's a Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 23, and text 122-23.
Okay, beautiful. And also the verses, Mataji, like 195 to 198. That is which canto?
Which one was that? Sorry.
It's like 195 to 9. That is about poetic. It said like without poetic attributes, we cannot.
Oh, the original, the first.
Oh, it's the same thing, Madhya Lila. Okay. Okay. It's the same thing.
I think it's no. Sorry, my browser doesn't seem to work properly now. Okay. So these different grammar and poetic principles.
Yes, this I got it, Mataji, but this is like 195 to 198. You just read the verses about the poetic attributes.
Poetic attributes. Okay, I just check all these. You mean the devotees' attributes?
Yes, devotee attributes. Yes.
Oh, yeah. This is it. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 22, and 78 to 80.
Okay. Yeah. Chapter 22, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji, again for the beautiful class.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't see any questions. With your permission, should we end the class? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can end, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much again for the beautiful class. Thank you, devotees, for joining. Vancha kalpatarupesya kripa sindhu bhyocha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Her Grace Radhavinodini Mataji ki Jai.
Pura Bhakta-vrinda ki
Jai. Okay, Mataji, I'll end the call. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your association again. Hare Krishna.